for Monday, December 18th. Jordan, would you start us off with a roll call, please?
Please respond by stating present. Councilmember Ronayne.
Present.
Foberg.
Present.
Liebelt.
Present.
Reif.
Present.
Johnson.
Present.
Reinbold.
Present.
Langer.
Present.
Norvstrup.
Present.
Mayor Shoneman.
Present. Please stand with me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I have two modifications to this week's agenda before I take a vote to approve it. They were passed out. I'm not sure. Does everyone get one of these? First would alter our consent calendar agenda item 5A to add a retail wine license renewal for the Aberdeen store, doing business at Market on the Plaza, which is at 506 South Main Street. And then there's an amendment to old business 6B, which move and reclassify item from old business 6B to new business 7P and correct the agenda description to read possible approval and adoption of resolution 23-1101R. So with those two items, I would take a motion to approve this week's agenda with those alterations.
I'll move to approve the agenda with both modifications. Second.
Got a motion from Councilman Johnson and a second from Councilman Reinbold. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. We'll move along to our approval of the minutes. We've got two meetings whose meeting minutes we will be approving. The first one is our city council meeting, which took place on December 4th, and then our city council special meeting, which took place on December 11th. Take a motion to approve those two
Move to
meetings.
approve both meetings.
Second.
A motion, Councilwoman Liebelt, second, Councilwoman Fulberg. Anything from the council, any changes, alterations, anything that needs attention? All right, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
And opposed, nay. Motion carries. We've got 5 items of routine city business on our consent calendar, including that one that I had read in full. That, in addition to some lottery notices, advertisement for bids, a couple of licenses for contractors, and a 2024 retail liquor renewal for various businesses. So I would take a motion to approve those consent calendar items.
Move to approve. Second.
Got a motion from Councilman Reinbold and a second from Councilman Ronayne. Anything from the council on any of these items? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
And opposed, nay. Motion carries. We have 4 items of old city business. The first one is the possible approval of a second reading and final adoption of an ordinance number 23-1103, which rezones properties described as Lot 1 overpass subdivision in the northwest quarter of Section 13, physically located at 115 2nd Avenue Northwest. It will be changed from C2 and I2 to simply C2. Ken told us a little bit about that process last time around. I trust there's been no changes since our first reading.
That's correct.
Have you heard anything from anyone on it?
No, we have not.
All right. I'd take a motion on our second reading if someone was so inclined.
Move second reading and final adoption.
Second.
Got a motion, Ronayne. Second, Reinbold. Anyone on the council have any input on this one? Jordan?
Councilmember Ronayne.
Aye.
Foberg.
Aye.
Liebelt.
Aye.
Reif.
Aye.
Johnson.
Aye.
Reinbold.
Aye.
Langer.
Aye.
Norvstrup.
Aye.
Mayor Shoneman.
Aye, motion carries. Next, we've got a possible approval of second reading and final adoption of... Oh. Good catch. City Attorney Wager has reminded me that we had made that alteration to this item in our approval of our agenda, so we will move right along to Item C, which we've got a possible approval of a second reading and final adoption of an ordinance number 23-1201, which amends the city code to make planning and zoning synonymous with the terms community development. Ken?
There have been no changes or comments since last week's hearing.
That's correct.
Anything, Ron?
Nope, no, you're not.
All right, good. Glad that we can continue to push this thing forward. Would someone care to make a motion on this?
Move to approve.
Second.
Got a motion from Councilman Reinbold and a second from Councilwoman Fulberg. Anything from the council? All right, Jordan?
Councilmember Norvstrup,
Aye.
Langer,
Aye.
Reinbold,
Aye.
Johnson,
Aye.
Reif,
Aye.
Liebelt,
Aye.
Fauberg,
Aye.
Ronayne,
Aye.
Mayor Shonneman.
Aye, motion carries. Finally, in our old business segment of this meeting, we've got the final approval of a second reading with its final adoption of an ordinance 23-1203, which regards emergency snow removal at the public parking lots. And it sounds like that was a move in the right direction for our efficiencies in snow removal process. Stu told us a little bit about that last meeting. Anything new?
No, sir.
Move to approve.
Second.
Got a motion from Councilwoman Liebelt and a second from Councilman Norvstrup. Anything from the council in terms of discussion or questions as it relates to this snow removal process? Go ahead, Justin.
Stu, have you heard anything from any of the businesses downtown?
I have heard nothing from anyone. So
Really? Okay. Awesome. I like the idea. So
nope, I haven't had a comment about it either way.
no news is good news. Thank you.
Yeah, and honestly, not to rehash what we might have talked about a little bit, but previously that was like the first area they'd hit. They'd sweep through, there's cars everywhere, they'd plow around the cars, leaving ridges all over the place. Sometimes that was good enough because it would melt off and stuff like that. Sometimes they'd have to go back and clean it out after people had moved cars out, so it was like kind of a doubled effort across the board. So if we can just thoroughly do it right away at the beginning, hopefully it saves a lot of time
Some money.
and money. All right, we've got a motion, we've got our second. Jordan, would you give us a roll call vote on this one, please?
Councilmember Ronayne,
Aye.
Fauberg,
Aye.
Liebelt,
Aye.
Reif,
Aye.
Johnson,
Aye.
Reinbold,
Aye.
Langer,
Aye.
Norvstrup,
Aye.
Mayor Shonneman.
Aye, motion carries. We'll move right along to our new business where we've got possible approval to expend $79,875 of grant dollars for our paramedic education. I assume that is what we're talking about, since in the description on the next page it says grant.
That is correct. Thank you, Mayor. Aberdeen Fire and Rescue received a grant for $79,875 from the Department of Labor Healthcare Grant to promote and provide paramedic education, not only to Aberdeen Fire and Rescue personnel, but to paramedic students in the region. So I'm here to request that approve the expenditure of those grant monies. First of all, to the School of EMS for tuition and books for the amount of $64,388.49. And then stipends to all of these students. The stipends are for books that they'll need along the way, uniforms that they'll have to purchase, and other items from the bookstore.
Move to approve.
Got a motion from Councilman Ronayne. Councilman Johnson, will you take a second on that one?
Will do.
Second from Councilman Johnson. What kind of questions does the council have for Fire Chief Joel Weig? Go ahead, Councilman Johnson.
I'm trying to recall, is this the first such grant that has been received for?
Second.
Second,
Yeah,
okay.
we received one last year for a
Also last
lesser
year.
amount. It was around that $23,000 amount.
Okay, that's what I'm seeing there, okay.
Correct.
All right. Anyone else? Jordan, would you give us a roll call vote, please?
Councilmember Norvstrup,
Aye.
Langer,
Aye.
Reinbold,
Aye.
Johnson,
Aye.
Reif,
Aye.
Liebelt,
Aye.
Fauberg,
Aye.
Ronayne,
Aye.
Mayor Shonneman.
Aye, motion does carry. Thanks for joining us here tonight, Chief Weig. Appreciate it. As always, next we've got a possible approval of a purchase of 3 vehicles from Stephen Lust Automotive for our Aberdeen Police Department, and to talk about that is Chief McNeil.
Yes, that's correct. So in our fleet planning for 2024, we determined that we would like to purchase 3 patrol vehicles, specifically the Tahoe. And in that time, the state had not received a bid yet, so we assigned a value of around $95,000 for the 2024 budget for these vehicles. Late in the year, the state did receive a bid for the vehicles. It was a little bit higher than what I had originally determined in the budget, so they came in a little bit higher. The bottom line is that we would like to spend $154,248 on these vehicles, and Stephen Lust Automotive is going to honor the state bid, so we'll be purchasing these vehicles from him.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion Ronayne, second Johnson. And so kind of walk us through the budgetary issue that you had made mention of pulling from the COVID funds that had been allocated, Chief.
Yeah, thanks for asking. At the time, if you remember a few years ago, we received federal funding. I guess it would be related to the CARES COVID relief funds. And at that time, the previous city manager had allocated a certain amount, I think $1.5 million, to do long-term planning for not only the police fleet, but the fire fleet and maybe some other things as well within the city. So these funds still exist, it's my understanding, and these are used to offset or help supplement fleet planning in the future.
Thanks, Chief. Any other questions from the council as it relates to this purchase? Jordan, would you give us a roll call vote, please?
Councilmember Ronayne.
Aye.
Fauberg.
Aye.
Liebelt.
Aye.
Reif.
Aye.
Johnson.
Aye.
Reinbold.
Aye.
Langer.
Aye.
Norvstrup.
Aye.
Mayor Shonneman.
Aye, motion carries. Thanks for joining us. Chief, always good to see you. Next, we've got a possible approval of quotes for our 2024 water treatment chemicals. Looking around, I don't see Mrs. Ellingson. So, Stu, could you walk us through those quotes for the water treatment chemicals?
Sure. So you can take a look. Some of the prices went up and some of the prices went down. I don't see anything there that really stands out to me as being alarming or, out of the ordinary, I guess. So I think everything looks in order.
Move to approve.
Second.
Got a motion from Councilman Reinbold and a second from Councilman Norvstrup. Any questions for Public Works Director Stu Nelson? Go ahead, Councilman Johnson.
Just a comment, it's nice to see anything go down in price.
Yes, exactly.
Do you think that was due to competitive pressures, or their overhead costs are going down, or what is what causes that?
I'm not very familiar with how the markets for these particular commodities work. I would guess it probably has something to do with transportation, probably more than anything. I think would be the thing that would drive the cost on these products.
Thanks, Stu. So we've got our motion, we've got our second. Any other discussion from the council? All right, Jordan.
Councilmember Norvstrup.
Aye.
Langer.
Aye.
Reinbold.
Aye.
Johnson.
Aye.
Reif.
Aye.
Liebelt.
Aye.
Fauberg.
Aye.
Ronayne.
Aye.
Mayor Shonneman.
Aye. Motion carries. Next, we've got our possible approval and confirmation of Mayor Travis Shonneman's reappointment of Marty Sabalo to the Aberdeen Housing Authority Board for a second 5-year term ending in 12/31/2028. For those of you who do not know, Marty's been a long-time housing guy over at NSU and has enjoyed his post over at the Aberdeen Housing Authority, and it is very difficult to find people interested to take that post, so please please approve him to continue on in that tenure.
Move to approve.
Second.
I've got a motion from Councilman Liebelt, and was that you, Councilman Johnson?
It was.
Second from Councilman Johnson. If you don't know Marty, you should Hit him up sometime. Very interesting and fun guy. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Next, we've got a possible approval of a pay request number 1 for the pre-treatment sludge system in the amount of $18,765 to Northern Plains Contracting of Wolverton, Minnesota. Stu?
So this is a project that was bid kind of before my time working with the water plant, but it is for some improvements to that sludge pretreatment, and this is really just for the controls for the new pumps that are being installed, and that work is going to commence next spring.
Move to approve.
Second.
Got a motion from Councilman Ronayne and a second from Councilman Norvstrup. And taking a look at this documentation, it looks like we are paid up with those guys for a pretty consequential amount of work done to date. Can you walk us through a little bit about what those guys have done previously for us for that $209,000?
I think the $209,000 is the actual contract price. The only thing they've invoiced us for so far, from what I understand, is from the $20,700 or $850, I believe.
Got it. So the rest of that,
The rest of that
outstanding.
is we will eventually have to pay them after they do the work.
Got it. Thanks for that clarity. Any other questions? All right, Jordan, would you give us a roll call vote, please?
Councilmember Ronayne,
Aye.
Fauberg,
Aye.
Liebelt,
Aye.
Reif,
Aye.
Johnson,
Aye.
Reinbold,
Aye.
Langer,
Aye.
Norvstrup,
Aye.
Mayor Shoneman.
Aye, motion carries. Next, we've got a public hearing and possible approval of a following alcoholic beverage license. This will be a transfer of a package off-sale liquor license from Abraham Hernandez and Catherine Infante, doing business as Lounge 420 at 420 South Main Street, to Jeff Rich, doing business as J Bar at the same address, as well as a transfer of retail on-sale liquor license from the same parties at the same address. No one is here to speak on behalf of either party from the looks of things, so I would I'd ask for a motion to make this transfer.
Move to approve.
Second.
Got a motion from Councilman Reinbold and a second from Councilman Ronayne. And for those of you that have sharp memories, I remember a few years ago we made this transfer the other way. So
remember
it's
that
just kind of going back the way that things had been before. Any discussion from the council before we take a vote? All in favor, please say aye.
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 Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Next, we've got a possible approval of a pay request, title number 9, for our airport rehabilitation and lighting improvements in the amount of $8,146.17 to Helms and Associates. Robin, that'll be Robin, now that Rich Krokel, Transportation Director, is nowhere to be found.
Rich is not here, so this is basically just paying Helms for their work on this project. Fairly small amount, $8,146, and this is just a periodic payment for their work. I think this is invoice number 9, so request we pay it.
Move to approve.
I'll second.
Got a motion from Councilwoman Liebelt, second from Councilman Johnson. Anything from the council? It's a payment. I'll take a roll call vote. Jordan?
Councilmember Ronayne,
Aye.
Fauberg,
Aye.
Liebelt,
Aye.
Reif,
Aye.
Johnson,
Aye.
Reinbold,
Aye.
Langer,
Aye.
Norvstrup,
Aye.
Mayor Shoneman.
Aye, motion carries. We've got a possible approval of a pay request, title number 22, for the airport apron reconstruction project in the amount of $876.35, also to Helms and Associates. Robin, anything on that?
More of the same, just a little different project. This one's on the apron at the airport, and Helms does the periodic inspection on this, so we ask that you approve their payment for work done in this most recent time here.
So moved.
Second.
Got a motion from Councilman Johnson, second from Councilman Reinbold. Any questions? Jordan?
Councilmember Norvstrup,
Aye.
Langer,
Aye.
Reinbold,
Aye.
Johnson,
Aye.
Rife,
Aye.
Liebelt,
Aye.
Fauberg,
Aye.
Ronayne,
Aye.
Mayor Shonneman.
Aye, motion does carry. Next, we've got a possible approval and authorization for the city manager to sign the letter of agreement between Helms and Associates for assistance on acquiring a friction testing equipment for the Aberdeen Regional Airport.
So this is a little more sophisticated piece of equipment that we'll use to determine whether or not an aircraft can land at the time after a snow or freezing event. Some of the stuff previous was fairly primitive. This is a fairly technical piece of equipment that's towed behind a vehicle or on the vehicle, so it actually periodically skids to see whether it's braking, to see whether or not they're getting decent skid resistance. So Helms is going to help us put together the specs for this particular bid so that we can make sure we're getting the right type of equipment that will meet the Fed's standards.
Move to approve.
And second.
Got a motion from Councilwoman Liebelt, a second from Councilman Johnson. Any questions for the city manager about this equipment or our agreement with Helms? All right, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
And opposed, nay. Motion carries. Next, we've got a possible approval of authorization of the city manager to sign the agreement between Steve Westby, doing business as Impact Janitorial Services, and our Aberdeen Regional Airport. Robin?
So this is a result of the changes in the aircraft type that we've been getting. In the past, we were getting 50 passenger aircraft. Once we went above the 50 passenger aircraft, while the airplane was sitting on the apron waiting to be boarded and getting ready in the morning and at night, we had to have somebody sit there and watch the aircraft to make sure that somebody wasn't doing something bad. And so it has taken away from the time that our employees would be able to do some of these janitorial services. So we're asking for right now to be able to have those services provided so that we are able to take care of both our federal obligation and the necessary sanitary issues that we have at the airport, so at the terminal.
I'll move to approve.
Second.
Motion Johnson, second Ronayne. And then is that, so you made a mention of the temporary status of this arrangement, at least as far as you see. What is there a plan to make an additional hire for these janitorial services, or what is the long?
The aircraft type will change next summer. So then we will revisit this to see how you can reallocate your staff and determine whether or not we want to continue with this or whether there are other ways to go about it. This is not a permanent thing necessarily, but we'll revisit it next summer.
All right, thank you, Robin. Any other questions from the council? I'll go ahead.
Will
Johnson.
the work be done during day hours or evening? Do you know?
Typically, they'll do stuff in the evenings, off hours, when they aren't in. I'm not familiar with this particular deal, whether Westby's had planned on doing it during the day or night.
Oh, thank you.
All right, any other questions? Okay, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
And opposed, nay. Motion carries. Next, we've got a possible first reading of an ordinance, or excuse me, I about skipped an appointment. We've got a possible approval of an appointment of Jarrett Ricks to the Aberdeen Airport Board for a term ending June 30th, 2028. And I will say that I have had a lot of inquiries about that, but no one actually went and filled out the application except Mr. Ricks. So he is he's the lone applicant that was interested in this position. We're glad that somebody was. Robin, what can you tell us?
So Jarrett has been involved in a lot of different civic things over the years. Has worked on construction at airports and things. He has a good familiarity with it, and We interviewed him. He's just a very engaging individual that will be a good asset to the board. So we recommend approval of his appointment.
Move to approve.
Second.
Second.
I've got a motion from Councilwoman Liebelt, second Councilman Rife. He edged you out there, Rob.
Absolutely. I lost fair and square.
Anything from the council? All in favor, please say aye.
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 Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Next, we've got a possible first reading of an ordinance 23-1205, which supplements 2023 budget to appropriate funds for various unanticipated projects, activities, and expenditures.
We should be on L.
Oh, I just subconsciously didn't want to talk about that one. We'll skip right back to where we belong in our agenda here, which is the possible first reading of an ordinance 23-1204, which sets fees and charges for certain services provided by the City of Aberdeen for 2024. Jordan, are you going to kick us off with this one?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. Before you, you'll see ordinance 23-1204, which is the 2024 schedule of fees. It was compiled with the help of various department heads and administrative staff. A lot of different hands touched this. They're not all necessarily my numbers, but those who compiled the numbers are here tonight. So I'll just touch a few areas that we did modify. The planning and zoning, or excuse me, community development, building permits also saw some increases. Those haven't been touched in several years. 2015 was the last real revision within that category. Ambulance rates see revisions. That's the first time we've really substantially modified those since 2020. Water usage and service charges, those were increased last year, but it is time again to modify those rates. Water tapping and meter fees were last revised in 2014 and 15 respectively. Storm water utility finance charges were last revised last year, but it is again time to modify those. And sewer usage and service charges were last revised last year, but we are asking for another increase this year. I would note a new administrative fee for tax increment finance districts is included. Some of our peers across the state have fees like those, and that is something that we think would be a useful tool in reviewing those TIFs. Other than that, you'll see a schedule of fees from the Parks and Rec Department, which has set rates for their activities at their November and December board meetings, and we are asking for your review and approval of the fee schedule as presented within this ordinance.
I'll move to approve.
Second.
Motion, Councilman Renane. Second, Councilman Reinbold. I'm sure that most of you have kind of perused these lists of fees and taken a look at the increases where listed. What have we got?
One thing that I will note, if I may speak, is that like on the wastewater charges, there have been some fees kind of established through different methods prior to our construction at the wastewater plant, and some of those costs are going to go up fairly significantly so in the future. So some of this stuff is kind of a stair step toward it rather than taking that huge leap all in one year. We may want to try to ratchet up just a little bit to make it a little more palatable rather than taking it all at one step, because it will be significant. And that same would be true on the water side.
I would have one question, Michael Mayor.
Go ahead, Councilman.
And I presume this is going to be to Ken, because I was curious about the building permits. You know, those are, if I understand it right, those are per dollar amount. So they are determined by the amount of money one is spending or intends to spend on a project. Is it because maybe the fee is justified, but is it because the actual cost of construction is usually many times what is shown in a building permit? Is that kind of what the rationale involves?
To some of it. The majority of our permits start at a base valuation of $22.30 right now, up to $500 project cost, and it goes up incrementally past
Right.
that. With all square footage new construction or remodeling square footage numbers, it's a square footage times a figure that are pretty outdated.
Okay.
So our numbers, when you see in the paper a new house being built for $60,000, it's pretty behind the times. We're working towards fixing that end, and this percentage increases all building permits, whether it's based on dollar amount or square footage amount.
At some point, does it make more sense to actually update the per square footage cost?
We're taking that into consideration as well as part of this, but all the permits are pretty low based on the man hours involved in inspections, multiple inspections on some of these. I think a standard detached garage permit runs you about $60 to $70 now, and there's probably a half dozen inspections. How long in plan review and permitting. So it's
And I would say that the increases are really pretty modest.
Yeah.
Thank you.
No problem.
Mr. Mayor,
Go ahead, Councilwoman.
I was trying to go through all these fees, and there's quite a bit of different ones, but somebody had brought to my attention that different parking lot fees were going up. Is that addressed in this, or is that coming down the pipeline? Like, is there any parking fees on here that I'm missing? That's all I want to ask. Like, I guess you don't have to address if it's coming down the pipeline, but is there any parking fees in this at all that I'm missing?
Yes,
Yeah.
there are.
They're toward the beginning. Chief McNeil will address that here.
Yep, so we're looking at an increase in parked against traffic, parked where signs prohibit, and improper parking. The increase hopefully will provide an incentive for people to comply with those particular ordinances. There's another cost, downtown lease parking, in this year it's a $10 per month fee. Next year we're proposing a $15 per month fee. The increase in that reflects the time that if somebody were to get a temporary permit, the placard work and some of the work that the parking staff do when they change that. So that reflects that cost. Does that answer your question, hopefully?
Yeah, it does. It's hard with, I look at the parking lot behind where the circus, and that parking lot, for example, is $10 a month, and I was told it's going to $15. And you look at a small business, needing 3 or 4 parking passes, we're talking about $45 to $100 a year for a small business just so that their employees can park. And then you're talking about tenants in parking spaces, raising that up if it's an extra $60 a year or however much per year. It really adds up, and I'm looking out for all those people that's a substantial increase when you really think about, 3 parking passes for one business is probably the minimum that a business would have.
So, Chief, is this the first year that the city itself has collected these fees and it not been part of the downtown association? Or how has that worked in the past?
Yeah, so I don't know how far back you want me to go, because then I start to get confused, and maybe Robin can help me. But you're right. So at one time there was a parking board, and they had a lot of input and direction in how these fees would be implemented, and those fees go back to when the parking board existed. However, over a period of time, there was more reliance on the city to take over and manage this, and rely on the city manager and the police department to see the trends and implement changes. And there was cost sharing and over time, and then recently with the downtown management position changing a little bit, there's a total reliance on the police department to manage all this, to reflect all the software that goes into managing this, all the upgrades and the computer handhelds and all those different things that go into it, along with the papers and tickets that are printed. So basically, we're managing that fully.
Do you have a sense of how many rented spots are downtown?
Yeah, I do. I don't have that chart in front of me. We met a few months ago and we looked at the rented spots, and we did determine that were some places within the city and the downtown parking scheme that we could scale back and reduce the number of parking spots. So, and I think we put in motion a reduction on some leased parking places because frankly nobody has rented those spots in years, and the council person Langer brings up a good point that there are some other places that are premium parking in the downtown area, and it's a challenge, but in general the parking staff do a pretty good job trying to work with people and educate and make this affordable. I think that as we talked in our meeting, we were one of the more affordable cities in kind of a quick survey across the state of South Dakota. So if you want a further presentation on all the parking lots, the spaces that we reduced, the problem areas, in a comparison with the cities across the state, I'm welcome to do a further extended presentation on that at a further point if you'd like.
Well, I don't know if I'd think that would be necessary. I was just kind of getting my head around is Ms. Langer's question, is it a $500 difference that we're talking about, or is it a $100 difference, or is it a $1,000 difference, or what type of money are we talking about for that fee?
So for the lot proposal that I'm talking about, so this year it would be a $10 per month fee. Next year it'll be a $15 per month fee. And people can lease
I
those.
just mean in aggregate. Is there, do you have a sense of how many total rented spaces there are? Roughly?
How much we generate revenue on the leased parking spaces? No, I don't.
Mr. Mayor.
Go ahead, Councilwoman.
I guess when I look at, I compare us to Watertown often, and, they don't have parking meters or any parking limits at all. They do have more parking than us available, in the side streets. But as a city, I don't necessarily think we should be making money on parking by any means. But the whole point of it is to keep, spots circulating, I would think, on why we have the 2-hour time limit. And so to think that businesses and people who choose to live downtown are paying more for parking passes, I don't know. It's just hard for me to wrap around. And I say that not just for myself, but, I've talked to other businesses downtown. And when the city took it over, I know there was a big shift and change regardless. And I've heard from several businesses, the CVB, for example, I'm on their board, and them talking about going from not paying to parking to paying for parking, and the change in their budget on that. And to increase something like that is not something that I think is that great, and not something that businesses and people who live downtown are going to be thrilled about. So I'm just trying to make sure that the increase is something that's absolutely necessity versus us doing it.
And it's my general sense that we do not make money on this when you consider the 2 full-time employees that we implement to enforce parking, and you consider the Cardinal tracking program and the software and the upgrades and the computer system and all the accessories that go with it. Although I don't have a dollar amount to give you right now, I've been looking at this parking issue for 15 or 20 years, and I'm confident I can say that the city's not necessarily making money on this. But I do appreciate your comment. One thing with the downtown area, so if somebody were to just park in a parking space, just pull into a parking space, a 2-hour parking space, and just leave their car there for the full day, they would have accumulated $80 in fines and tickets. So it is probably more affordable to look towards the leased parking spaces, and we're always willing to accept feedback from the downtown area or anybody that would want to give us tips and suggestions on how to manage this. But looking at it through a historical perspective, where we're at now seems to be pretty reasonable for our community based on all the things that we've implemented in the downtown over the years, from coin meters to different things. So, but I'm open for suggestions as well. I don't necessarily have all the parking answers in town, other than the fact that if people want to comply with the ordinance, it makes it so much easier on everybody else and the businesses and our staff.
Thank you, Chief. City Manager Robin Bob Zine had something to chime in there.
One comment that I would make, this kind of goes back to the same thing. We haven't adjusted these rates forever, and we probably would have been better off maybe making a 50 cents a month or $1 a month increase instead of maybe the larger increase that might have raised flags. But we haven't adjusted these fees, or they haven't been adjusted since they were implemented 15 years ago, whatever the time is. So that jump is significant, but it's, if you looked at inflation, we're not keeping up with where we were 15 years ago.
All right. Thank you, Robin. I appreciate your input on that. Any other aspects of the of these fees that anyone would like to touch on particularly, perhaps change? You know, I know that we had a presentation from the Parks and Rec about the fees associated with the Dome and the Strode Center. They're not here to talk about it, but this is just exactly what they had presented to us. I've gotten a reasonable amount of community feedback. Are these something that can be changed, I guess, moving forward, depending on how things are utilized? I mean, how set in stone are we on entrance fees for the Strode Center as an example?
So the Parks Board set the fees. You can approve them, and we can modify them in a future supplementing or modification ordinance. So we will likely come back to the council in 2024 with other increases as we start SRF loans and things like that, but they're not set in stone. They're constantly moving.
All right. Anyone else in the council about any of these particular fees? Well, we've got our motion, we've got our second. Jordan, would you give us a roll call vote, please?
Councilmember Ronayne.
Aye.
Foberg.
Aye.
Liebelt.
Aye.
Reif.
Aye.
Johnson.
Aye.
Reinbold.
Aye.
Langer.
Aye.
Norvstrup.
Aye.
Mayor Shoneman.
Aye, motion carries. Next, we've got a possible first reading in ordinance 23-1205, which supplements 2023 budget to appropriate funds for various unanticipated projects, activities, and expenditures. Jordan, would you walk us through the ins and outs of those details?
Thank you, Mayor. There are many items included within this supplementing and transfer ordinance. Typically, we would do 2 or 3 of these during a year. This is all of the activity bundled into one big ordinance. Just due to the staffing in my office, it became a very difficult task to put it together. So there's a lot going on. The common themes you'll see is insurance. Insurance was higher than anticipated. Materials continue to be higher than anticipated. Professional services, items like that, unanticipated but unavoidable. Your typical things such as grant expenditures, we supplement as we receive the funds for those, so you'll see those within the proposal. Water use, that's a recurring thing where we transfer the funds out of this water fund, we supplement the expense within a departmental budget, and then we transfer the cash to pay for it. So there's an expense, but they don't really pay for it. You'll see various items within Parks and Rec. One of the more notable items is a $430,000 transfer to the Parks and Rec Fund for capital purchases at the Presentation College Complex. That would be specific to capital items, of course. Within the promotion fund, we identified in 2020 there was a shortfall, and we provided a loan from the general fund to satisfy contributions, and this finally pays it back. I didn't charge us any interest within this, but that's within there, so that's a little different. Otherwise, there's significant expenditures within the airport fund. We're just providing the expenditure authority should the bills come due, or if we need to accrue the expenditures from an accounting perspective. Within the utility storm, it's kind of unusual we're transferring cash in, but it was necessary this year. Part of the reason why there will be a fee increase next year, we just need to maintain and generate more revenue to sustain activity there. Another common theme is, vehicles not being delivered, and we're finally taking possession of some of those. That helps us in many categories, but it hurts us where we don't have the budget and something arrives. So, for instance, we had a fire truck we purchased 2 or 3 years ago. We paid for it at that time. We carried the expense over, and it's finally here. So, that is a pretty brief summary of all that's going on here, but staff recommends approval as it is presented.
I'll move to approve.
I'll second that.
Got a motion from Councilman Johnson, a second from Councilwoman Liebelt. Any questions about any of the specifics? Anything about the topic at large? Well, you must have done a good job explaining it to everyone's satisfaction. Jordan, would you give us a roll call vote?
Councilmember Norvstrup.
Aye.
Langer.
Aye.
Reinbold.
Aye.
Johnson.
Aye.
Reif.
Aye.
Liebelt.
Aye.
Foberg.
Aye.
Ronayne.
Aye.
Mayor Shoneman.
Aye, motion carries. Next, we've got a possible first reading of ordinance 23-1206, which supplements the 2023 budget for various parks, rec, and forestry activities. Jordan, what can you tell us about this one?
Thank you, Mayor. This is the fourth and final quarterly transfer for Parks and Rec activities that are paid for with donations held within the Parks and Rec gift fund. You've seen this several times this year. It could have been grouped with ordinance 23-1205. It's easier for us administratively to separate it out. You'll recognize many of the common themes: Wiley Park, parks, forestry. We do have donations for a mosquito conference, which is a little unusual, but we hold that within the gift fund and disperse it out as they expend it. So staff recommends approval as this ordinance as it's presented.
Move to approve.
Second.
Got a motion from Councilman Reinbold and a second from Councilman Johnson. Any questions for Finance Officer Jordan? All right, that was an easy one. Jordan, would you give us a roll call vote, please?
Councilmember Ronayne.
Aye.
Foberg.
Aye.
Liebelt.
Aye.
Reif.
Aye.
Johnson.
Aye.
Reinbold.
Aye.
Langer.
Aye.
Norvstrup.
Aye.
Mayor Shoneman.
Aye, motion carries. Next, we've got a possible approval of the Northeast Council of Governments, acronym NECOG, Joint Cooperative Agreement for the year 2024. Jordan, what can you tell us about our agreement with those guys?
Thank you, Mayor. They submitted this to us for approval. You've probably seen other boards around the region approving the same agreement. They'll present a invoice in January. The fee is presented within here. It's $7,166.88 for 2024. Staff recommends approval.
Move to approve.
Second.
Got a motion from Councilman Ronayne, second. Councilwoman Liebelt, was that you?
That was me.
Okay, sounds good. Any questions on this agreement? All right, all in favor? Oh, this is money. Jordan, would you give us a roll call vote?
Councilmember Ronayne.
Aye.
Foberg.
Aye.
Liebelt.
Aye.
Reif.
Aye.
Johnson.
Aye.
Reinbold.
Aye.
Langer.
Aye.
Norvstrup.
Aye.
Mayor Shoneman.
Aye, motion carries. Next, we've got our item P, which had been incorrectly classified as old business before. It's actually a possible approval of a resolution and not a second reading of an ordinance. It will vacate a right-of-way property described as second 7-foot wide public alley right-of-way located between north 112.5 foot of Lot 1, first overpass subdivision, the Thomas Division. Just looking for a physical address, but it doesn't look like one is even listed. So, in or about the area of our overpass. Ken, what can you tell us about that that resolution?
Thank you, Mayor. The petitioner has submitted this petition to vacate unused public alley right-of-way with the intention of combining it with their adjacent property to allow for conveyance and commercial development. A replat of the property to consolidate the alley with their property has been submitted in conjunction with this request. Staff has reviewed the petition to vacate the right-of-way and recommends approval with the stipulation that easements are obtained for any possible utilities located in the alley. Staff recommends approval with stipulation.
Move to approve.
Second.
Got a motion from Councilman Reinbold, second from Councilman Ronayne. So it's the hatched area within that first map illustration that in that north and south.
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay. All right, any questions from the council as it relates to this resolution? Jordan, would you give us a roll call vote, please?
Councilmember Norvstrup,
Aye.
Langer,
Aye.
Reinbold,
Aye.
Johnson,
Aye.
Reif,
Aye.
Liebelt,
Aye.
Fauberg,
Aye.
Ronayne,
Aye.
Mayor Shoneman.
Aye, motion carries. Next, we've got a review and approval of our claims and payroll. The bills, of course, are for this week, December 18th. The payroll will be for the pay period of December 3rd through December 16th, as well as all associated costs.
Move to approve bills, claims, and payroll.
Second.
Got a motion from Councilman Johnson, a second from Councilman Reinbold. Anyone would be able to abstain from any particular budgetary item, so I will have that open as opposed to a discussion period here. Jordan, would you give us a roll call vote, please?
Councilmember Ronayne,
Aye.
Fauberg,
Aye.
Liebelt,
Aye.
Reif,
Aye.
Johnson,
Aye.
Reinbold,
Aye.
Langer,
Aye.
Norvstrup,
Aye.
Mayor Shoneman.
I will abstain to the bills, but approve the payroll, and the motion does carry. We'll move along to our city manager's report. Robin, what have you got for us this evening?
First of all, School for the Blind and Visually Impaired will be having their Home for Christmas holiday concert on Wednesday, December 20th at 10:30, and we're invited to go attend if you'd like to. Also, it appears that the 20th is when everybody is doing their holiday potlucks and stuff. So I've gotten at least 3 or 4 invites in addition to the one to the School for the Visually Impaired. So Wednesday is going to be a busy day for a lot of people. Are going to go home sick probably. Lastly, just wanted to announce we had some milestone anniversaries for 3 employees in November. Dustin Grease out at the water treatment plant, 15 years. Forrest Scott in the Public Works Department, 10 years. And Jared Zaruba in the Police Department, 10 years. And so congratulations goes out to those folks for their years of service and a lot of appreciation. We've got a lot of milestones here. There's got to be at least 15 other people that had not milestones, but anniversaries, and we just appreciate everybody's time with us. So that's all I've got. Thank you.
Congratulations to Dustin, Forrest, and Jared. Thanks for your hard work, and thank you to Glacial Lakes Energy for bringing in some charcuterie board goodies. Yeah, and also, of course, we've called the special meeting to approve that liquor license, or excuse me, the wine license that we had taken a vote on last week to set up the meeting. So if we'll need a quorum tomorrow at 12:30 of our council. So don't forget to enjoy some cheese and meats before we leave. And I would take a motion to adjourn the meeting.
I'll move it. Second.
Motion Ronayne, second Reinbold. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries.